then. Well, hello guys. I hope this is working. As always with the start of streams, you never really know if it's actually working properly. But we'll see if it starts working on my end, and we'll see if the comments start rolling in. So welcome to the first, I guess, stream on Makers Muse for 2017. As a lot of you know, that's an ad, go away. As a lot of you know, things towards the end of 2016 did not really go to plan, and I really appreciate everyone's patience with the channel, but I am really happy to be back, and this is our new studio. This is the new Makers Muse studio as we're setting it up. It's kind of a little bit, I'm going to change the banner and stuff, the lighting's not perfect, and there's still a bit of echo in the room, and hopefully you can hear me okay. And today's video is all about basically unboxing this, and funny story. Okay, so this is the Blocks 3D printer, the Blocks Zero 3D printer that's currently on Indigogo, and it's made by a Portuguese company called Blocks Tech. And they sent me an email saying, "Hey Angus, would you be interested in reviewing our printer?" I said, "Yeah, sure, okay, here's my details, here's our terms." And I didn't hear anything back from them. Then a few days ago, this just showed up. I got a DHL tracking notice saying your package is on its way, and this just turned up. And it turns out Dustin and Preston, so Dustin's already got a Block Zero, he's been doing some videos of it, and Preston over at Press Reset suggested they send one to me, so they did. So that's how I got this printer, and so I figure what better topic to do a Sunday stream than to whip it out of the box and see if we can get it going. How's that sound? Yes, I do have a haircut. I went to the cheapest of the cheap place while I was in Perth, and they seem to do a decent job as long as I keep it out of my eyes. It was getting too long. It was getting way too long. So I got my energy drink. So the new studio, I'm going to do a behind the scenes tour for the Patreons, but basically I've got a few machines here. I've got the Up Mini 2. I have the Z Morph, which I'm currently testing quite thoroughly, and I have the Prusa i3 Mark II kit, which I will assemble probably in another stream at some point. And I'm not really able to do any Q&A in the chat. I'm going to keep an eye on it. So we've got a Buzz, awesome, good to see you. Arcania, Dion, awesome to see you. Sparky, who hasn't slept all night so far, well done. I don't blame you if you pass out. 3D Printer Noob, awesome, thanks for coming guys, I really appreciate it. So, I've already done the top bit, but I haven't unpacked it. So let's have a look. I do have a second camera here, so when I start getting into the guts of it, I'll try to do close-ups for you. Something like that. The audio may be a little bit quiet because I'm using my laptop, which doesn't have the best preamp for the microphone. If I turn it up too much, there's too much hiss, so I just turn up your sound if you can. It would be appreciated. So the Block Zero guys told me, they sent me this specifically to highlight their assembled version of the printer. So Dustin, over on his channel, The Jatman, he received a kit of the Block Zero, which I thought that's what I was going to receive. But no, this is actually an assembled printer. So this video won't take too long to get it going, I don't think. So here we go. See how that's looking. Yep. All right. So from my first impressions on this printer, seeing other people's videos, it looks like a larger fabricated mini. That's what I think. I think it looks like a bigger fabricated mini, which gets me excited because I always like the fabricated mini. It's a good little machine, it's cute, it's portable. Yeah, so let's pull it out. There we go. There we go. So it is made from, I believe, acrylic. It could be a different plastic, but it looks laser cut. And we'll just get it out of the box. Is there anything else in there? No. All done. And I've used up all my USB ports, so I have no mouse to control the laptop with. Excellent. Okay. Okay. So we get this tape off. Here we go. All right. So as I said, the Block Zero is a Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign, and they have 16 days to go, I think. But originally it was just a kit, so you'd assemble it yourself, and it's got these laser cut panels. It has these little screws with T slots, and you're meant to do it yourself. But as I said, this is already assembled, and they've added a new tier to their campaign for a machine that comes ready to run, basically, which is what I'm going to put to the test. So I've got some stuff on the top here, put that aside. A little bit sniffy today. Sorry, it's going to be a scorcher today. I think they're predicting 45 degrees over the next few days in New South Wales. 45 degrees Celsius. That's summer in Sydney. Summer in Australia. I thought Perth was bad. Yeah, someone's saying it looks like a mini Ultimaker. It's got the same color panels as the Ultimaker. Definitely. Right. So, actually, I think someone just said, can we talk about how weird the name of the weird name Block Zero is? Yeah, okay. I can understand your thoughts, but also it's a Portuguese company. So for them, like MakerBot or something might be strange. So it probably means something more more technical in Portuguese that they've translated. Like Blocks Tech, they've spelt it T-E-C instead of T-E-C-K or whatever. But I actually like the name. It reminds me of a beer. There's a beer in Australia called Dos Blocos, and it's a local New South Wales beer. Reminds me of that. I almost got one for the stream, but 10 a.m. is a bit too early for a beer. Okay, so I'm going to switch to the close-up camera. Here we go. So you can have a closer look at the machine. So it has a fairly small print volume, which I'm not sure what it is. It looks, I'm sure someone can tell me in the chat. It looks about 120 by 140 or something. But it's non-heated. The platform isn't heated. So you're not going to be doing ABS or anything like that on this machine. It's pretty much PLA only. It's got the LCD and click wheel interface, pretty standard stuff. And then over here, what have we got over here? Got a little 3D printed extruder, which is Bowden style, with a little click wheel, a little feeder gear, and I'm showing the spool mounts here, which is cool. And it does have full-size NEMA 17s, which is really cool. As I said, this looks like a larger Fabricator Mini, and the Fab Mini has NEMA 11s, which are really tiny and not really good enough. Don't have enough torque for anything much bigger. This is NEMA 17s, which are completely overkill. They are hugely overkill for this sort of machine. But yeah, as I said, it comes as a kit or assembled, and this one looks like it's been put together pretty well. The hot end, I'm not too completely sure if it's a legit or clone E3D V6. If Dustin does make it into the chat, he knows everything about this printer, so he can fill everyone in. But yeah, it looks pretty nice, linear rods. And a nice little design for that belt tensioner. That's one of my favorite parts. So the belt tensioner tensions that really nicely. There's no sort of hacky, I guess, springs or anything like that. You know, the sort of peg springs or anything. It's got a proper tensioner like the ones I would use in a robot system where you want to tension the belt properly and you can adjust the idler to do that tension. Let's go back to the chat. How much money would it be? In the description of this video, you can see the campaign link. That's the one. I'm not exactly sure how much it is. I can't remember. It's not super cheap, but it's not the most expensive printer. All right, it's too early in the morning. Okay, so we've got some stuff. Let's put them over there. Okay, that'd be the spool holder, which is also laser cut. I do think it's acrylic. I will say, I think it's a frosted acrylic. I'm going to say that. It looks like 6 millimeters thick. And that's the spool holder. Yeah, it's pretty cute. Alex is wondering, any news on the 101 Hero? That campaign seems to be going south really quickly. I got like requested information for my delivery information, and then nothing happened. And some people have received them. Apparently, have some issues. Personally, I haven't received mine, which sucks. And I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything back. Right. So we have a power brick. This is a 12 volt 6 amp brick, and it has the wrong cord for Australia. That's okay. I can change that. And it can take 240 volts. Okay, I'm going to have to navigate around to get a new cord without pulling the lav out. 1 second. This is going to be interesting. Actually, I'll mute the microphone and grab it so I don't kill any headphone users. Sorry, guys. You good? Yep. Sorry, I almost tapped it. It's a force of habit. Elevator music. Yeah, we do need like the like, no, that's not elevator music. I don't know. Don't ask. Okay, now I've got the right plug for Australia. Get rid of that. And we can stick this in and find some power. So it looks like in terms of I/O for the printer, we've got the DC jack in and a power switch, which I'm going to just turn off there. I can't see a USB in, although I'm sure there is one. USB in might be underneath it actually. Let's have a look. Ooh, underneath the printer. I should have shown you that. Let's have a look. Close up. Okay, let's have a look at that. So, yeah, it's running a ramps board basically. Ramps, and they've got heat sinks on the drivers, which is good, and a big squirrel cage fan. So I'm not sure how loud that's going to be, cooling the electronics. But then, yeah, you've got the USB there, which is good. Okay. So we do have USB in if you want to run tethered. Put them down. Being very careful. I don't like plastic too much, I'll be honest. I always find it, especially acrylic, it is quite brittle. Okay, let's get this plugged in. Oh no, I'm dropping everything. All right, we still here? You notice also I don't have a minion, sadly. She will be away for a few more weeks. But yeah, that's why I can't keep track of the chat. But Unlikely Creators is doing a fantastic job, so thank you, dude. I do appreciate it. So yeah, got it plugged in. Got the 12 volts. Plug her in. Right. So I assume there's probably things I need to cut, or I mean, again, this is a pre-production unit. This is not going to be exactly the one that if you do pledge for this campaign that you'll receive. So normally I would expect the axes to be locked in place with some sort of zip tie or locking mechanism, but it doesn't appear this is. And obviously you need to cut those free before you start using the printer. But in this case, it doesn't seem that there's anything locking it in place, which is good. Also, yeah, someone didn't notice the way the rods are held in place. It is a little bit unusual. I'll show you with the close-up. You can see here, the rods are pressed into the laser cut panels. It does look sketchy, I will be honest, but I have done this before when I've been using laser cut acrylic for projects. It only works when it's this thick. As I said, acrylic, I'm assuming it's acrylic, but any laser cut plastic, if it's too thin, this sort of thing can crack it. But this thickness, you're pretty safe. Although I did notice a few of the screws somewhere, like the back here. I don't know if you can see, it's going to be so hard to get the camera to see it. Have little cracks, tiny cracks. I will do a video review of this printer at some point anyway, but I just wanted to get this video out fairly quickly. I got Simone, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so the printer's powered up and we've got the LCD screen. So let's have a look. Blocks 0. Block 0 ready. No SD card. Okay. So I assume in the packet there'd be an SD card, maybe? Would be nice. No. No SD card. Yeah, the USB pass-throughs on the side and then it goes to the ramps board inside. I cannot see a SD card because I tipped it on the floor, which no, I didn't. Oh dear. That's okay. I'll just grab an SD card. Yeah. Okay. Cue elevator music again. It's just across the room. Okay, I got one. It's all good. Crisis averted. Yeah. So Chatman's saying Blocks does not send an SD card. They should send an SD card with the final versions because having to fumble for an SD card after buying a fairly expensive 3D printer would not be a great user experience. Do, however, have one of the world's shortest USB cables for a printer. Okay, put it over there. And no filament, which is fine because I have lots of filament. So I believe it takes 1.75. Yes, that would be 1.75 millimeter filament. So I'm going to just see if I can preheat it. So control, and the screen flexes a bit when you push that button like that. Filament. No. Preheat, there we go. So preheating, it looks like it's set to 180 degrees Celsius, which should be fine for PLA. I'm making sure it's not touching the bed, but I will maybe home it and then move the nozzle up out of the way. So I'll go to the close camera for that for you. Right, so you can dodgily look there, or here I guess as I'm controlling it. So let's go to control, move axes, auto home. Cool. And I'm going to jog the Z-axis out of the way of the print bed. Z or Z axis for you American guys. Oh good, it won't let me jog it into the bed. That's a good start. It won't let me go beyond 0. Some printers do, and you turn the knob the wrong way and it goes into the print bed. This won't let you do it, so that's a start. Yeah, that's probably plenty. Cool. All right, let that warm up. And while it's warming up, I'm going to go to the chat and have a look. Go away, I was enjoying the music. When I get more organized, I'll have like waiting music. Yeah, Vishal's saying I can see the Y rods popping in the front once the fit loses grip. Yeah, laser cutting isn't the most precise process. The tolerances do vary, and I can't really see them popping loose now they're in place, but I can see them having a high degree of failed panels, because if you put them in wrong, that's going to crack them, and if the panels are being cut on a laser that's slightly out of focus, they will be too loose. There's no glue on them by the looks of it, they're just sort of pushed in. Looks like they did originally think of having little mounts. There is holes for something, so maybe they'll go back to using that. Like there's mounts on the sort of Z rails, Z rods, they've got some sort of little extra acrylic panel, so maybe they were thinking about that, but then they just decided it was easier to stick it in a tight fit hole. I don't know. Cool. All right, so it's warming up. And yeah, so Paul's saying it looks rudimentary. Yeah, it is. It's actually super easy so far. I have not encountered any issues, which is what you want if you just purchased a 3D printer. Okay, let's go with some filament. I'm going to go with Isan. Let's go with Isan. So Hobby King noticed I liked using pink, so they sent me some pink Isan. So thank you, Hobby King. The build plate removable. Yes, I believe these are actually the build plates. So again, I don't know if there's any instructions. Dustin, please correct me. These are the build plates, correct? I think they are. Which look like, again, like frosted acrylic. Yeah, so I think these are actually what it goes on. No? No, these are covers. What? What are these for? What are these for? No, they are the build plate. Yeah. So these are the build plates, not the other one, but they're still plastic. So you're not going to get any ABS printing done on this. 3D printing science is saying if I wanted a very high quality printer, would you make the plate move or only the hot end? I would make only the hot end move. If you have a plate moving, you have a much larger mass and it's harder to keep it accurate. That's why I like H-bot style configurations, and also a good delta can print really accurately and quickly. I prefer if the plate just drops down on the Z axis rather than moves around. How am I going to make PLA stick to it? I don't know. I assume PLA sticks to whatever they've designed it from, but if not, I do have a cocktail of other adhesion materials like print films and Magigoo print glues and stuff like that. So we can try those if I need to, but I don't know if I'll need to. Okay, so the extruders, as I said, it's a little 3D printed unit. Looks okay, looks a bit dodge. But again, this is a pre-production unit, so everything is subject to change. Stick them up in there. Ball bearing's a little bit rusty. Interesting. All right. We've got the plastic up in it, so I'm going to do a load sequence. So control, filament, load. Oh, so I was a little bit skeptical. Some load sequences and printers just run the motor and they don't actually wait for it to warm up. In this case, it does actually wait for it to warm up, then runs the motor, which is nice. So that's good. Good firmware. Thank you. Yes, I just found that out. It does have a load sequence. So is the bed acrylic or does it have a coating on it? It looks to me like it's just frosted acrylic. Again, I'll go to the other camera for you. So here's the plate. It looks like, yeah, chemically frosted acrylic. That's what I'd say it is. So this would be good for sticking things down because the surface would get a good mechanical adhesion, I would say, but you'd have to get your nozzle pretty accurate. If you do it too close, it's going to melt this, definitely. Yeah. Luke, polycarb doesn't laser very well. No, it doesn't actually. When I was wanting to use polycarbonate for robots, I looked at laser cutting it, and polycarbonate carbonizes. When you laser cut it, well, for a start, it makes massively toxic fumes, but it actually burns, and it makes this yellowy brown edge, which is really unsightly. So that's why you don't usually see polycarbonate being laser cut. In industry, you usually see it being CNC'd, but you can still laser cut it. Some companies will do it, and it's a stronger option. So some machines will have a cover that's laser cut, and if you look at the edge and you see like this yellowing, then you know it's polycarbonate. If it's not yellowing, it's usually acrylic. Yeah, Nate, you need to cut back on your messages. Sorry. Unlike the creators, you can not don't ban cosmic Nutellas, but I can't pay attention to you, Nate. I'm sorry. I know him, it's fine. Is eSun good? Yeah, I do like eSun actually. Basically, how it comes down in Australia is we have very little choice in filaments versus the rest of the world, so we have to use what we've got. And Hobby King brought in a massive load of eSun when they first started selling 3D printed components. And it was like the cheapest available, 20 bucks a kilo in Australia. And I just bought loads of it. I actually used to buy it and then resell it when I was working in Perth because it was so cheap. We couldn't even get it from the supplier directly for that much. Okay, sorry, I've just been talking and rambling, thinking this will do its own thing. So insert and press. There we go. Nah, never mind me. Oh, whoops. I see what you mean, Dustin. It was like wanting me just to insert it at the start and then let it do the rest. So now it's extruding at a rate which it shouldn't be extruding. And now it's making cracking noises. Oh, make it stop. Oh, God. Oh, dear. There we go. Oh, God. I'm sorry, Blocks Tech. You didn't see that. So it does have a good loading sequence. I just assumed it wouldn't, but it does. That's awesome. It is way too early for Angus. It is always too early for Angus. Yeah. So it was extruding way too fast, which is because it was trying to move the filament to the hot end quicker, which is why it made this thick gump. But yeah, okay, that's doing its thing. So the next step is to, I guess, make a profile for it in Simplify 3D, I suppose. So it's got these little clips. Actually, how do you set the bed height? That's probably an important factor. It's got little screws. Okay. There's a couple little Allen keys. All right. So I'm going to set the bed height first, then I'll make a profile. Actually, Dustin, if you're there, do you mind emailing me your FFF profile? That would be really nice. I'd really appreciate it. Run leveling sequence. Okay. Yep, I will do that. While I'm doing that, do you mind sending me your FFF profile? So it's cool that they've got all these sequences. I just assumed they wouldn't because I guess I assume nothing when it comes to machines. these days. But, okay. Yes, that's the noodle stuff. That can just go somewhere. So we're going to run the leveling profile. So back. Level plate. All right, let's try this. All right, so it's cooling the nozzle down, which is nice. Cooling temp. Press to abort. It is very pretty. It is nice. It is a nice sort of simple design. Right. Blocks with 0 quality. Yeah, I do have some basic experience with acrylic non-heated beds. I did use a machine when I visited Shining 3D in China with a non-heated acrylic bed. They had some sort of adhesive on it as well. And yeah, stuff stuck like way too well to it. You had to be really careful with your nozzle height, otherwise it would just be welded to it. So I'm not a massive fan of using this style of platform, but if it keeps the cost down, which I assume it does, because you don't need a heated bed, then why not? And if you're only printing it in PLA, again, why not? So it's cooling down. Silica, do not eat. I ate a bag of this when I was a kid. I thought it was sugar. It's probably why it was so messed up. Whee. Thou shalt not diss the Portuguese printer. I'm not dissing it at all. I really like it. So far, anyway. Cool. Thanks, Dustin. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to get that into my Simplify 3D. Oh, check the temps. You have it set for PETG still, do you? So someone's been trying PETG on the Block 0. That's interesting. At least Cortana's working this time. Last few days I've been typing in, stuff in Cortana, and it's just been like, I'm not going to search anything for you. You need to reset me. Good old Windows 10. All right. So I'm just setting it up on this end while that cools down. You can talk amongst yourselves. Factory file. Where did it go? I wish I had a mouse. So awkward. Open with. So, as I said, this is the new studio, and this setup is kind of temporary. It's going to get a lot more awesome from this point on. This is just kind of the start, I suppose. Oh, import. There we go. Import. Done. Cool. Thank you for that, Dustin. If you guys haven't already seen Dustin's channel, the Japman, check it out. He's already got how many streams of this machine? Yeah. Yeah, so guys, the bed is removable. They've sent 2 plates, which are these 2, and they slide in and lock in place with the screws on the bed. And regrettably, they appear to use these to hold it in place, which are bulldog clips. This is bringing back nightmares of working with up +2s. Sorry, no, the ups. The original ups from Tier Time used to use bulldog clips to hold the beds in place. I would implore Blocks Tech to come up with a different solution than these, because it's a lovely machine. To have to put bulldog clips on it is kind of it's like an afterthought almost. I would have some sort of little sliding latch, like a camera quick release that just goes. It could be laser cut as well to hold the plate in place. I would do that instead of using these. I should do a review of the TiVo Black Widow, one of the best budget printers out there. Well, you may want to go watch Preston's recent video on his experiences with the Black Widow, and then make that decision, because I was not impressed. Binder clips, not bulldog clips. Yeah, we call them bulldog. They're little ones, little bulldog clips. Okay, so we're ready to start leveling the plates. So press to start. Make sure there's no filament in there. Yep, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to need something thin to set my nozzle height. I'm so prepared. It's not like I'm streaming to hundreds of people. Find something. There we go. Here's one of my stickers. That'll work. Okay, that's way too close. So let's adjust that down. I'm going to try to do it so you guys can see it, sort of, without sticking the Allen key in the fan. Oh, God. All right, well, from a user perspective, that fan is a little bit too close to the adjusting Allen key. Someone's going to stick it right into the fan, definitely. Come on. It feels like I'm about to snap it. Right, that's pretty good. Next point. Right, that's again way too close. It really does feel like I'm about to snap the plate in half. I hate working with acrylic. It's just, it makes that cracking, like that squeaking noise. But, yeah. So far, so good. Just awkward angle because I'm trying to do it so you guys can see something. All right, that's probably okay. Yes, adjusting it is a bit of a pain in the ass. Probably the first negative thing I've come across on it, to be honest. It's, no, I don't even have a T wrench this size. How do I even get to that one? That's it, I'm doing a close-up of this one. So, here you go. So I need to adjust that screw with this Allen key. How? It's just awkward. Awkwardness. I'm going to have to do it on its side and go through in like quarter rotations. So, sticker. Yeah, I can only get maybe 90 degrees of travel. If that. No, not even that. 45 degrees. You know what? That's probably good enough. That'll do. Okay. Is it okay? Yes. Yes, it is. Plate leveled. All right. Good. So far, so good. I've worked on printers before that were much more disastrous than that setting up. Okay. So, what's next? I suppose I need to print something. So I'm just going to get this set up. Yeah, using a longer hex key won't help that much unless, I guess you'd have to be the right length to not collide with the frame. You'd have to clear the top and not collide with the frame. Okay, so I'm going to jump you guys into Simplify 3D. There you go. So profile blocks 0. No. And I think Dustin, you were saying you might have had it set for PETG. That's fine. Good. PLA. So big shout out to Dustin, the Jatman, for making this profile. Otherwise, I would be floundering right now. So he's already done the testing. So massive thanks to you, man. I do appreciate it. So here we go. Got the extruder, manual at 0.4. 0.2, I'm going to bump that up to 0.25 for a quick print. Use a skirt, that's fine. Going to support. First layer, so you've got changes, and then yeah, that's pretty fine for ESUN. All right, that'll do. And how fast? Printing at, okay. So it's what, 30 millimeters a second? I'll probably change it to that scale later. So let's drop a file in. Something that's not too terrible. Not printing a Benchy, or should I? Should I print a Benchy or not? Let me know in the comments. Where can you buy the stickers? These specific ones you can't buy, but if you go on our Redbubble store, we have lots of other ones, including the different logo, the newer one, and this logo, this one which is on the laptop, which you can't see right now. I'm getting a mix of yes and no. Not sure what else I have. I can't do a torture test because that's going to take too long. Small, I've got these like ripper assembly parts. I'm going to do, let's find import models. I'm going to print something useful. How about that? Okay, I'm going to print one of these clips. So this clip is designed to basically hold my backdrop up. And it's got little teeth there. I'm going to do that. Let's print this. So for it, infill, yeah, actually let's do it 10% so it's quick. Let's do that. Prepare to print. 1 hour. Oh, really? Okay, well, we'll see how long we keep the stream going, but let's try this. So this is a useful practical print. I got a lot of comments in my practical print video that the examples were boring, but that's kind of the point, I guess. Practical prints are meant to be useful, not fascinating, not like all these artsy prints. All right, so that's good. Let's go back to, there you go, my ugly mug. I'm not going to up the speed to 60 millimeters per second because I'm not confident with the machine yet. And if Dustin had it set for that, I know you, yeah, okay. I'll make it 60, fine. Okay. The chat has spoken. 60 millimeters per second. Oh yeah, we're set at 15, yeah, okay. Okay, that's going to take 28 minutes, a little bit faster. Let's save that off. Save. Okay. And we'll see if it works. I'm just not sure how this platform will hold it down at that speed, but never fail, you never know. Never try, never fail. So never try. Okay. So I'm going to put the little clips in. I'm not sure where you meant to put the clips. Maybe at the front and maybe at the back. Maybe. I'm just going to do that and hope it doesn't collide with them. So let me see what this is like. So pretty standard interface. I'll take this protector off. There we go. So that's the one. Right, so it's going to have to warm itself up, and it's already homed, so I assume it won't collide with anything, maybe. Good, okay, well we'll let that thing warm up and I'll return my attention to you guys. There you go. All right. Take it up to 88 miles per hour. 88.8. Yeah. I honestly, I've said it before, I honestly do want to experiment with how fast printers can go and see if I can push one to like the ultimate limits. Because I think the hot end is really the limitation. That's why deltas can't go too fast. But I really want to see if with the Volcano hot end, how fast you could go. Like 300 millimeters per second print speed. That would just be so cool. What's the build volume? Again, I can't exactly remember. It's pretty small. Honestly, it looks like 140 by maybe 120, 140 by 140 to 160 millimeters. Again, my buddy Dustin can clarify, but it's a medium-sized machine. You're probably looking at printing most objects comfortably, but anything for cosplay, it's going to be way too small. You're going to have to print in multiple parts and assemble, which is, yeah, no, it's not quite big enough for that. Angus was working out these last few days. I do have the beach pretty close now, so this new location is absolutely awesome. We've got the NBN that's coming. I am using the wireless dongle at the moment that's supported by you guys on Patreon, which I really appreciate. But we're going to get NBN, which is super fast fiber, soon. Okay, well, it's doing something. Looks a bit too far away. Maybe. That's so fast. Probably should have slowed that first layer down a little bit. But, oh well. See if you can get it closer. Oh, Chuck, welcome. Nice to see you here. This is a machine that you probably want to get your hands on if you like the Fab Mini. It's like the Fab Mini's slightly older sibling, the Blox Zero. So let's run this through here. Actually, I can go for the top. Let's do that. Oh, you can't really see anything from the top. One of those machines, it's hard to see what it's doing. Yeah, that's pretty fast. That's quick. Noise level, about the same of any sort of standard NEMA 17 driven machine, I'd say, running off the standard drivers. Not as noisy as a metal frame, I suppose, where you get large resonances, but it's definitely pretty loud at this speed. Oh, no, okay, to be fair, it's not pretty loud. I've had machines that are way louder than this. It's average at this speed. Man, that's really pushing it. If it's going to skip steps, you're going to see it here. That's really quite fast. I wonder if I can set this up so you can just see it printing. Set it up like that. There you go. You watch the print for a little bit. I'll answer some questions. 3D print everything. How do I use a GoPro to stream? So it's not a real GoPro, it's just a knockoff. But basically you plug it in via the USB, and I've got this set up with OBS, which I quite like. It's sort of free broadcasting software. And when you plug it in, it asks, do you want to be recognized as a storage device or a webcam? I selected webcam, and it shows up in OBS, which is pretty cool. And there's not much delay actually with this one, you know. That's pretty quick. So not that you would have seen how delayed that was, but that was more for me. Does it have a heated bed, Max? No, it does not have a heated bed. It's printing directly onto frosted acrylic, which, as we were talking about before earlier in the stream, seems to work pretty well, in some cases too well, but you're going to be limited to PLA. Yeah, it's not a real GoPro. Actually Will from that 3D print guy sent it to me, gave it to me when I visited Perth, which is really nice of him. Actually, I met lots of awesome people when I was in Perth. That was lots of fun. Have I seen the arm bot on Kickstarter? Yes, I have. I was not convinced. I don't think robot arms are suitable for 3D printing. The accuracy just isn't there. They're really for other applications. Do I have a laser cutter? Thoughts on desktop laser cutters like the Glowforge? I do not have a laser cutter currently. I'm talking to a few companies. I would like one. I used to work at a laser cutting company for a year, so I know how they work. I might just get a cheap Chinese one and modify it, actually, as long as it's got a good laser tube. Glowforge, in my opinion, is like a hipster laser cutter. It's not using a proper tube unless you go to the higher end versions. And they make it easy to use, but really, it's overpriced for what it is. I'd rather get a proper high power laser tube and cutter and run it off a proper DSP unit, whatever they're called, and just attach it to Illustrator and be done with that. Looks like the belt tightens slightly. Yeah, possibly. Let's see how this print goes. It's not doing too bad a job considering how fast it's printing. Krauser is asking, how do I get the wobbles out of my y-axis for my Wanhao i3? Y-axis or z-axis? You might want to try making the triangulation brackets with the threaded rod that you can find online that support the gantry. That will help. But other than that, yeah, there's not much you can do. What happened with the Kuka? Oh, okay. I'm going to go back to the other camera for this. Okay. You guys need to know what happened. So, I was invited at maybe August, September, to become a maker in residence at the University of New South Wales in Sydney. And the idea of that is they had a maker space. They wanted someone there who knew about making stuff on hand to help out students and do talks and all that. And in return, I would get a space to use to make my own content. And it sounded like an awesome deal. And for a start, it was. I had really fast internet. The space was free. It was really well lit. But then things started happening. And that's where the Kuka arm came from, because they parked it in the same room as me. And they said, hey, Angus, we can collaborate on this. But nothing really happened. Kuka loaned that robot arm to the university, not to me, but I was going to be allowed to play with it with a few other people, but they didn't loan any of the software to run it. They just loaned the arm. So we hacked it and got it to move slightly. But basically what happened there is they started to dig up the university. They started to dig up all the roads around where I was trying to film. So there was just construction everywhere, and they were building a building next door. Plus I kept getting interrupted. So the people there were fantastic, really, really nice people, but the space just became toxic for this content. So that's why I bumped out, and that's why the Kuka arm was never used, sadly. If Kuka would like me to play with one of their robot arms, then please hit me up in an email. Honestly, I'm not a mechatronics engineer, I am an industrial designer. So while I would love to play with a robot arm, I don't really have the skills to fully take advantage of one of that size. A smaller one, yes, where I can train it, but a larger one, no. So that's what happened. That's why I've jumped through so many studios. Plus, Lady Muse got really sick towards the end of last year, and she's still a bit on the mend. That's why she's not here. She's still in Perth for 2 weeks. But yeah, that's what happened with the arm. That's what happened with the studios. That's why we're in a new studio. And this is the last, we're here now good, at least for 6 months. This is the new studio. So that's what happened. CJ liked my 100-degree knife video. I reckon someone will do a 100-degree knife first 3D print, like, just to get on the hype train. Spin that round. There you go. Is it Honen all metal? I don't believe so. I would say if this is a PLA designed machine, there's no reason to go all metal. They would have probably put a PTFE liner in, which is more reliable, actually. You get less jams with a PTFE liner. Yeah, there you go. It's facing the camera now. Oh, I need some water. No, Minion was not overworked. Come on, no. Minion was very much appreciated. Let's just say although healthcare is free in Australia, it's not the best. So let's just say we got stuffed around quite a bit in sorting out what was actually wrong. But it's all good now. 1,000-degree knife through block 0. You know, you'd get pretty far. Acrylic would melt. I wouldn't know. I'd never do that. So what about that sweet Dell? Yeah. So this one, actually, it's a Dell gaming laptop, which is hilarious because you'd think, Dell makes Alienware PCs, but no, they tried to make a gaming laptop, and it's pretty good. It was about. I couldn't really afford it, but I needed a new computer for this space because everything's still kind of in between my old house and all that. But it's actually got a Core i7 and a 960M GPU, a discrete GPU, so I can edit on it really nicely. And this has transformed my ability to edit. Before I was stuck with a Surface Pro tablet when I was out and a really old crappy computer when I was in. Now I can actually do stuff, which is awesome. So I sort of bought this for myself for Christmas. And the sticker is one of Lady Muse's custom stickers, which you can buy on Redbubble if you like, which the link is in the description. Have I used the Prusa i3? Any thoughts? So be careful asking that question. The Prusa i3 original, I have used the version 2 from Joseph Prusa directly, but there's lots of Prusa i3 kits on the internet, and they can vary from fantastic to complete rubbish, depending on where you get them. You might get a machine that's completely worthless, that arrives broken, missing parts, no instructions, or you might get an experience like the genuine Prusa i3 Mark II, which has online manuals and a fantastic support system. So, yeah. Yeah, nah, Sparky, yeah. I would imagine a Russian hospital wouldn't be quite as good as the Australian ones in that regard. What type of power supply does the Zero use? It uses I'm not going to unplug it. It's a power supply brick AC/DC adapter, 12 volts, 6 amps. So that's pretty small. It is getting warm, but 6 amps is pretty low. And because it doesn't have a heated bed, that's probably why it doesn't need to be much higher than that. This machine you probably could run on large batteries for a while, considering it's just the hot end and the steppers. Yeah, so this is running the stream right now, guys. So I would not be able to stream without this computer, and it's not even throttling up, which is awesome. Any thoughts on the Folgertech FT5? Again, I haven't used one, but Preston, again, has a kit he's playing with. He quite likes it. He's had a few issues, again, with all kits. They are a bit hit and miss. It does take a lot of time to get them running properly. So you can put them together and you need to actually make them work properly. But yeah, it's a decent kit for the price, I will say that. I haven't used it myself, though. Yeah. Look, the Surface Pro 3 got me through many... Actually, no, the original Surface Pro was my favorite because it didn't throttle as much as the Pro 3. The battery life was terrible, but the original Surface Pro had a proper Wacom digitizer, and it had actually more performance than the 2 and 3 because it wouldn't throttle back as much. But my original Surface Pro got stuck in a boot loop, and I was devastated, absolutely. It died, basically. And I went back to JB Hi-Fi, and I'm like, look, guys, it's done this. And they're like, yeah, we'll replace it with the Pro 3, and you paid a little bit extra or something. But yeah, the Pro 3 wasn't as good as the original, in my opinion, for what I was doing, like using the Wacom pen and the... I was playing Fallout 3 on the original Surface Pro on an aeroplane plugged into the mains. That's how good it was. I don't think the 3 can do it. When you put in the dock, it overheats and blah. And the Surface Studio apparently is also fairly disappointing, despite how pretty it is. Still no Delta printers, 3D printing science. Yes, still no Delta printers. What's up with that? So I don't know why I haven't reviewed one yet. There just doesn't seem to be that many of them around. I haven't been driven to purchase one yet. I might in the future buy a Cossel mini kit from China, but Honestly, yeah, it's just the main makers of the deltas that you see on other channels are in the US, which is probably why you see them in the US. Although there is a company in Australia called 3D Brink, which I may well review one of their machines, but I haven't done much with Australian 3D printed manufacturers. They seem to be a bit hit and miss in terms of them making printers and actually sending them to review. And even if it's a loaner, I don't know. But there is a company here where I've just moved called Me 3D, and I'll probably test one of those soon. But I've got too many machines to review right now. I'm not accepting any more reviews at this current time. What am I currently printing? So I'm currently printing a clip that holds this up, which is a grey sheet, because yeah, behind it is a mirror. So it covers the mirror. So don't buy the Syntron Cell Mini, it's terrible. Yeah, I'm not going to buy any Syntron anything. I saw what a Syntron kit looks like firsthand at the Perth meetup. They don't work. Anyway, let's see how the print's going. Let's do a little close-up for you. I have to say, I'm really impressed with how quickly I got this up and running. I didn't have any real issues. It actually had routines for everything I assumed it wouldn't have. So it had routines for the loading and it had routines for the bed leveling. The bed leveling was a bit flaky, I will be honest. It wasn't the funnest thing to do, but now it's done. Hopefully I don't have to do it again. And it's actually really nice. We're working really well. So yeah, thanks Dustin for the awesome profile. That seems to be working good. I'm pretty happy with it. A little bit weird with the spool on the side. Maybe, no, that's not too unusual, I suppose. I just blew the illusion. It looks like a wall. That's the idea. It's meant to look like a wall. I'm going to get a proper banner with the logo or something on it. But yeah, this place is awesome. This is meant to be a bedroom, but it's now my studio. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I suppose the only things to watch out for with acrylic frame machines is if you get the kit, don't over tighten the, what are they called? The T-slot nuts, because you're putting a lot of stress on a very brittle substance, and the laser cutting doesn't have any relief angles. So when you laser cut for this design, you generally want to do like a little internal relief. Can't draw it, no pen. But basically you want to give the acrylic a bit of room to spread that stress. But because there's none here, it's a sharp internal corner. That's where stress, that's a stress point, that's where they form, and that's where you're going to get a crack. So when you assemble this machine, do not over tighten those nuts and screws, because that will crack the panel. And even though it looks thick and strong, acrylic will crack pretty easily. It's beautiful to laser cut. It's really easy. It's cheap, but not the toughest material. Don't hate on the Fab Mini. Who's hating on the Fab Mini? I love the Fab Mini. It's like a mini version of this. Can I try to lean it or put it upside down? Yeah, why not? It's doing too well. So let's try putting it this way. There you go. There you go. So, how the motor's doing? Yeah, it seems to work pretty well. No real difference in the print quality. The drivers are pretty warm, but the fan is blowing over them, which is nice. Motors are average, not too hot. Oh, I think I wrecked it. I think that actually threw it off. Oh yeah, it's skipped a step. It is absolutely skipped a step. I'll let it continue. But yeah, I didn't like printing on its side. How about that? Maybe there's too much weight in that y-axis. I don't know if you can see that with the camera. There you go. Now that would be a skipped step right there. Quite a big skip step, actually. All right. So don't put your block 0 on its side when it's printing. Shame. Who said that? I blame you. Yeah, no, you're right. It's way too fast. No, Dustin's right. It's printing at 60 millimeters a second. Oh well. It's not acrylic. It looks like all-to glass plastic. That may well be an acrylic. It might be a strength modified acrylic. I'll look into it. But there is still little stress fractures on some of these nuts. So the point still stands. It still seems to be pretty brittle. Ultimakers are expensive, yes. So I say this a lot, but you're unlikely to see an Ultimaker on this channel because I'm in Australia. And once you get an Ultimaker to Australia, they are ridiculously expensive. I'd be looking at like $8,000 for the extended, probably. And no one in their right mind would do that when there's other people closer to them who can review them with larger audiences. So absolutely check out Joel's channel, 3D Printing Nerd. He's got an Ultimaker 3, and he's making very good use of that. Has Hobby King discontinued the mini fab completely, or are they redesigning? They're kind of redesigning, but it's a completely different machine. The Fab 2 is larger, and it's also delayed. So I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, it's a shame that if they've discontinued the original one already when the other one's not out. But there is a new one coming, which looks pretty good. I hope to test it at some point. Hobby King's got a really good presence in Australia, actually. Anthony Hand actually started Hobby King, and he's an Australian, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, hopefully I'll get hold of one of those to test out. Hey, Preston! Yay! Everyone send love to Press Reset. Yeah, so the CES coverage, I've been watching a bit of, I think someone mentioned Linus Tech Tips. Absolutely love Linus Tech Tips, by the way. I've been watching a bit of their coverage, not too much because I'm only on dongle internet. I don't have the NBN connected yet. But yeah, someone's saying that MakerBot didn't even make CES. I just made a video about my predictions for 2017 that'll go live later on today. But yeah, I believe, I didn't mention it in that, but I think MakerBot's going to die out. Absolutely. I think they've run their dash. What companies usually do when they're failing tech companies, they'll usually start saying they target education because it's an easy market. And that's usually what they do before they just die out. So I'm not surprised they weren't at CES. Absolutely. What's that print in the back? Back, do you mean this? So that's a vase mode print. Again, the video on vase mode printing is coming soon. And this is a ripper from Fallout 3 that was designed, and I didn't design this, it was someone on My Mini Factory. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but that was printed on the Prusa i3 Mark II in a custom grey PLA plastic, and it's awesome. So it makes a fantastic prop. I tried to use it to open boxes, but the teeth aren't sharp enough. I might have to actually go and laser cut a actual serrated blade to put on it. Where I am now, it's very industrial, so that's why the rent's cheap. Like, no one in their right mind would live here to work here. You usually travel somewhere else, but because of what I do, it's all online. It's fantastic, and there's a lot of industrial areas here. So I can go to a laser cutting or water jet company and get something done in metal very quickly, which is definitely going to happen. Definitely going to do that this year. Sorry, going back through the chat. A lot of people ask about the ANET A8 and A6. Look, it doesn't seem that bad, but with any Chinese kit, you get what you pay for. You're not getting any support. You'll have to rely on community forums and groups on Facebook to get it to go, get it working, and it won't work out of the box. Like, no chance. Like, you won't have this experience. I got this out of the box with no idea, and now it's printing. You won't have that experience with the kits. You'll put them together, you'll probably make mistakes, the parts might break, you might be missing parts, and then you have to calibrate it and get it to work properly. It's fun if you enjoy tinkering. It's not fun if you want to print straight away. You're buying a hobby, not a tool. That's how they work. Attach a NEMA 14 to the Ripper. No way would you go with Stephan motors for that. You'd go with a high torque brushless. So you'd go with like an aeroplane outrunner, brushless DC motor, and you'd stick some real teeth on it. And then see if it works, which it probably would melt. It probably wouldn't work. How's the Cetus working out for me? I love the Cetus, actually. Thanks for asking. I took this to Perth, and this is the Cetus, by the way, up here. And it just works. It's insultingly good at working. I printed this, I put it up on Patreon, like a lattice cube, sort of almost looked like a diamond, and it just did it with no supports for the tiny, tiny base. I don't know. It's magic, black magic. For the price that it is at, I think the linear rails does it. The linear rails make it just so much more accurate and light rather than using rods. I just love it. I really do. It's nothing to do with like a relationship with tier time or anything. I really like it. And I know they're shipping now, which is cool. So we're going to see a lot more of them in the wild, which is nice. I don't have the extended. So I would say about the Cetus, they have the extended version. I wouldn't go for that because I think it would become too flimsy towards the top. It is a cantilever design. So when you extend it out all the way, that nozzle is going to wobble around a lot more than if it's further in towards the base. So the extended would definitely have a lot more flex. So be careful about that. Yeah. Well, it seems to, I mean, apart from losing the step, which is my fault completely, it seems to work pretty well. Yeah, having fun answering the questions. So as long as you want to stick around, I'll keep answering questions. Yeah, it's got a standard RAM board inside. Nothing fancy, nothing custom. But I think what they've done is they've made a nice platform around it to use it. This machine isn't anything special, but it's been designed properly by someone who knows mechanical engineering. The tensioners, for example, on the belts, they're closed belts, and they've got a nice tensioner that you can adjust, like a tensioner idler wheel, rather than using springs that are just hacky or trying to pull them tight with zip ties. Like, whoever thought that was a good idea? Honestly. So it's a basic machine, but it's done well. Yeah, definitely. All right, 3D Maker Noob, thanks for joining me. Have a good sleep. It's probably got another 10 minutes remaining. Yeah, Chuck, it looks like an Arduino Mega clone, I would say, underneath. I'm not going to tip it upside down again because it made it fail last time, but it looks like an Arduino Mega. Deema's asking, do I know any 3D printers with a welded steel frame? I do. Welding steel is difficult because you get warping to a degree. The machine I know that has welding is like the Mancati. I don't remember what it's called anymore. The original Mancati, and that was a terrible machine. It was like an Ultimaker clone. It was heavy, but it wasn't very good. I think the CraftBot I don't think the CraftBot's welded. I think it's all screws. I wouldn't recommend welding, honestly, on a chassis. I'd recommend folded sheet metal and screws because then you can align things and tension up. Welding, It's like 3D printing. It warps. As it cools, it shrinks. And you end up with dimensional inaccuracies. Unless you do it really well and you calculate for those. Thomas, have I ever thought about selling prints? I make a living doing it, but it's not very common and many people think I'm crazy. I think you're crazy. Honestly, no offense. I used to do it. I used to do it for a job. So I used to didn't own it, but I used to run a 3D printing studio. And my job was to take designs in. People would send us STL files or a sketch, and I would then quote for that to be printed in FDM locally or in-house, or on a proper machine outsourced, or I'd design it up and then print it. People do not appreciate, for the most part, the amount of effort that goes into 3D printing. They think it's just this magical process, thanks to the media, where it's just really fast and they get something really quickly, and they're like, but filament's only $50 a kilo. Why are you charging me $50 for this print? Like, well, the machine does cost, $2,000, and my time and effort and skills are valued something, but they don't really seem to see that. I suppose it's the same with any freelance job. You have good clients and bad clients, and the bad ones tend to outnumber the good ones. So if you're making it work, that's awesome and well done. That's super cool. But for me, I thought it would be more valuable to take my father's advice and do one thing and sell it to thousands of people, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm making a video and I'm selling it to all of you guys, but of course I'm not really charging you money for it. I'm just putting it out there and then I get a bit of AdSense money from it. But making prints was like, it's a physical item. It's one thing to one person, and it has a ceiling. You can only do so much without needing a new machine, and then there's quiet periods. I got out of that game, but if you're making it work, that's pretty cool. Brandon, will I be getting the quad upgrade kit for the Prusa? I don't think so. I took my sweet time reviewing the Prusa i3 Mark II, and I did hit on some interesting points there. So I believe that upgrade kit will probably be going to someone else rather than me, which is totally fine. I do want to get more into multi-material printing, which hopefully I'm going to be testing on the Z-Morph very shortly. It's got the dual extruders. I'm done testing the single extruder. I'm going to go into the dual and see how I can print with that. But for the Prusa i3 Mark II, I probably won't see that kit. We'll see. But I'm not pushing for it. Did I ever get Simplify 3D to approve a promo? Yes. You will see more about that. Am I going to unbox the 101 Hero printer? Yes, I absolutely am going to unbox the 101 Hero printer if it ever shows up. They are a bit flaky at the moment. Some people have received them, some people haven't. I backed the red one. I asked for the red one, which shipped after the blue, because I didn't want the first off the production lines. That may have been a mistake, because they may not be any more after the first run. I don't know. I haven't gotten. Some people have said they got the machines. I haven't got a tracking number, and it was a bit of a punt. So we'll see. But if I do get it, you'll absolutely see a stream like this, where I will try to get it going. Promise. And info needed. Am I going to be at Supernova this year? I keep trying to make Supernova, but I will be honest, in the years I have gone, it's always been a little bit underwhelming. It's maybe, I don't know. I'd have to have a really good cosplay kit to go, otherwise it's boring. You need to make it awesome yourself rather than rely on the vendors. So maybe. I can't guarantee it. X such red, how many printers do I have? I recently counted. I have 21 3D printers. They're not all mine. Some of them are loans, but this is the 21st. Yeah, a lot of them don't work because of various reasons, like the Pirate 3D Buccaneer. That was sent to me by Dion, the 3D printer, like just because it was a demo unit he had and didn't want. He never expected it to be a functional printer. It's more of a curiosity. It's like a little snippet of history. And I have my original Up Minis. They're still good, but I purchased those, the Fabricator Mini. A lot of them I bought, but the thing about being in Australia is if a manufacturer wants to send something to get a review on it, it's not really worth getting it sent back most of the time. So I get left with it, which is good, but also, yeah, I'm running out of space. So I've been working on some initiatives that I took back to the drawing board, but it's all about loaning out machines to people who need them and making a makerspace, stuff like that. You'll see more about that as I progress with that. But yeah, I have a few machines. Yes. Oh, do we have blocks? Yay! Thanks for joining us, guys. So, to summarize, for your machine, I had no idea about anything. I got it out of the box. It arrived in Australia safely. I would recommend for your actual shipped units to backers that you lock the axes in place with a zip tie or something like that. It is only a small machine, so it's not much of a big deal, but shipping companies are brutal. So I would put some foam, make sure the axes can't move. The frame is fine. There's a few tiny cracks where the nuts are. Nothing too major, but again, that's probably because of the plastic it's made out of, just very small. And the print, I printed it on Simplify 3D at 60 millimeters per second, and it was going really, really well, till some smart person in the chat said to turn it on its side. So I turned the printer on its side, and it skipped a step, which is totally my fault. So this is the first print I've gotten off it. I ran through the leveling routine, which was good, and I'll show you a close-up. There you go. So, as I said, the skipped layer is completely my fault, 100%. But the print quality at that speed, 0.25 millimeter layer heights, is actually pretty good. I am pretty happy with that. So, some of you asked about removing it from the bed. There you go. So, I broke it because of the layer skip, but yeah, that just came off really well. And you can see the layers haven't damaged the print surface at all. Yeah. Let's see if it works. See if it works as a clip. There you go. Like that. Cool. Gotta be happy with that. Yeah, now I have 2 clips. So XL8, yes, I'm currently in my new space. It's set up quickly, as fast as I could, but it will slowly progress and improve over time as I get more gear in here. But yeah, this is the new location for Makers Muse, and I wanted to just stop and thank Blockstech for sending me this printer, because and it was completely unexpected, to be honest. As I said at the start of the stream, this just turned up, which was really cool. I've never had that happen before. And a big thanks to Dustin and Preston, so Dustin the Japman, Preston Press Reset, for sort of suggesting to Blockstech to send it to me. But yeah, this machine is on Indigogo right now, and this is the assembled version. And I have to say, from the start of the stream to this point, it's been pretty much flawless. The only thing I did wrong was tip it on its side while printing at 60 millimeters per second, which was obviously my fault, I suppose. But it's really, really, really good to get back to doing these Sunday streams. I'm having an absolute blast. I have had loads of fun. And yeah, look forward to these streams at this time every single week from now on, because we're back here, we're ready to go, and yeah, it will either be an unboxing or a project or Q&A. I might have some guests, friends, I don't know, something like that, but yeah, it should be fun. So just going through the last few questions with the chat, and then I think we're going to call it a day because it's 11:30, so I've gone a little, actually, yeah, an hour and a half to get a printer out of the box and print its first object. That's pretty impressive. Can I show a close-up of the infill of that print? Yes, okay. It's a little bit messy because of where the layer shifted, but let's show you. See if I can show you that. There you go. So it was set at 10%, I believe. And the walls look like 2, maybe 3 perimeters. It's a pretty low infill. If I was going to print this clip properly, it would probably be a lot higher infill. But yeah, it worked pretty well. So the chat's not updating. Thank you for watching, Thomas. I do really appreciate it. You've been watching for the whole time. Since the clips seem lossy, is it hackable? I'm not sure what you mean, but if you mean about the machine itself being hackable, it's got a ramps board, so absolutely you could probably drop in anything you want, smoothie board, whatever you want. The extruder itself, design looks pretty nice. It looks like it's just got 2 screws holding on that extruder assembly, so you could probably swap it for a different hot end. I'd say the extruder, Bowden extruder assembly is 3D printed. You could absolutely replace that with something else, like a Bondtech or something like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a simple machine. You could probably even add a Wi-Fi Octoprint. You could probably sneak an Octoprint, Raspberry Pi with Octoprint in there. Yeah, pretty happy with it. Well done, guys. Only cool people watch the whole thing. You guys are so cool. I really do appreciate it. Right, guys, so I'm going to probably call it there. Thank you so much for joining me. This stream will be made public for anyone who is interested in checking out the Blocks Zero and seeing how it goes together in a real-time format. And I want to also say thank you to everyone at Patreon for being so amazingly patient. You guys have been phenomenal. Honestly, I've expected most of you to be like, what are you doing, Angus? Where's the content? Bye. No, I didn't expect that, but I probably deserved that, and you haven't done that. And I really do appreciate it. So I'm back on track now. I've only been in this space 3 days to get it to this point. So you're going to see a lot more stuff. I am, excuse my Australian, but balls to the walls for the next year. And I really appreciate your guys' support for Makers Muse. So I look forward to seeing you again very shortly. Have a fantastic weekend, day or night, whatever time it is where you are. And I look forward to seeing you again very shortly. Catch you later, guys. Bye. Stop.